We've seen so many different decks being used throughout so far, so
I
kinda
expect
hoping for
Wasp
more.
out of Stephano.
Yeah.
I think he's a
Yeah,
Wasp
yeah.
player.
And I could get behind that belief.
Wasp for Stephano. We have Scorpions coming out of Nitix with missile bots, and Stephano having Blink Hunters as secondary tier 1 unit. Shockers and Destroyers for Stephano, as we have Mortars and Destroyers for Nitix. And then we have Snipers on the side of Nitix, Heavy Ballista on the side of Stephano. Maybe some Cat Boss as well, and even advanced recalls. Alright, cool stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be some actually pretty cool units here, so we'll see what happens. The Scorpion Wasp early game is basically don't get your Scorpions surrounded, you're going to be fine. Wasp should not be able to really do anything here. So just hang back and chill. Generally, this is where Stephano might be able to take a third already. It's very tough for the Scorpion player to kind of get across the map and to deny a third, so yeah, tech from Nitix makes a lot of sense. Mortar Destroyer on the way up, while Stephano does indeed expand.
I've seen a couple of players play Wasp and then still go for 2-base tech, but that seems like such a waste of the Wasp for me, right? All that map control, all that potential. It's like, why are we going 2-base tech with Wasp? I mean, I'm sure there are some very gnarly builds that you can go for, but it just feels like it's the ultimate, I want to get 3 bases quickly, I want to get map control opening unit.
Well, we have and the Wasps are going to dive in. This is actually one of the biggest issues with Scorpions, is when these Wasps jump on your workers and you're not immediately in position, because now you lose 8 workers, and then the Wasps are still able to kind of slide out, because it takes so long for the Scorpions to kind of kill them, especially when they're kind of protected by the workers. So, interesting little moment there as the Wasp not strong enough to maybe take on the third, but threatening enough to still move around and to, you know, start putting some damage onto it. And Stephano going to go Falcons. There's a severe lack of anti-air in Nitix's army, so he's going to, you know, Stephano going to have the air tech is going to be very powerful, I think.
This is almost the moment where we have reached the tipping point where we should have more than enough Scorpions to battle the Wasp everywhere, and obviously Nitix is going to be stronger on the ground, but he's going to lose so many workers. He lost 6 the first time, he's going to lose at least 6 or even 8 this time around. Center base was saved, but yeah, now you force the Mortars to siege up in the natural, and that's obviously just going to give Stephano time, right, to get that tier 2 Starforge stack online. And it's just a matter of time before you see the Falcons. Scorpions are going to be fine here, especially if the Mortars are able to get a single shot off. But I really don't see Nitix walking to the other side of the map with Missile Bot Mortar. Even though it seems like he wants to try, but that's just not going to cut it. After losing that many workers, you never have enough money for enough Missile Bots.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just too expensive, right? Like, you just lose that natural expansion. Just feels like such a big loss. You're not used to playing with that little economy, and Falcons are pretty much unkillable right now with the economy open to you. Some Wasps already set up to counterattack on the natural, maybe even going into the main or third base as well from the bottom side. We don't need Wasps in the middle of the map because the Falcons will just get the job done. And yeah, this is bad. The missile bots that are spawning are going to get caught by those Wasps as well, so that's going to suck even more as... Yeah, the Falcons are wasting absolutely no time, just continuing to go across the map, letting the Wasps do their work, killing workers, still in the base. The Scorpions are going to get active, but Reinforcements should deal with that, and Stephano, complete and total control of game 1.
Complete domination coming out of Stephano. Looks incredibly strong here. Nitix is going to have to switch it up. Maybe he will just be kicking himself or being out of position a little bit and allowing the Wasp to get on top of his workers. The first time around, maybe he feels that's where it went wrong, and he can try it one more time with this setup, but this was a little too easy for Stephano. It should never be that easy. Just dealt a lot of economic damage and had the right tech choice, obviously. Nitix was forced to reveal his tech choice first because he did not want to go up to 3 bases in that Scorpion versus Wasp battle. Yeah, I think what you mentioned is incredibly important. Scorpions can be very good in preventing Wasps from getting on your workers, but if they're already there and they already get in the midst of it, yeah, then these Scorpions, you kind of get blocked by your own workers, right? And you can't easily kill all these Wasps anymore because you don't have any range damage. It almost felt that at that point it was already game over.
Yeah, no, you just can't. The thing is, Wasps are so momentum based as well, and because they're guaranteed that faster third base, you just can't let them kill like half your mineral line because it's just going to kind of completely snowball from there. So you gotta at some point just be ready to have those Scorpions just in front of your base, because yeah, once the Wasps have that full surround on the workers, that's when it all goes wrong. Just can't let that happen.
Nitix still believes in his opening as he has not decided to switch any units out, so he will probably just see that as, well, that was an execution error. I can do better. I believe in my units. I just need to make sure that I don't lose that many workers. Stephano obviously is not going to change anything because he's just going to look for the exact same outcome.
Yeah. I need to mix up what's already working for you. I wonder if I mean, Stephano's entire deck only has the Blink Hunters as anti-air. If Nitix gets to that later stage, I wonder what he could do just to... I mean, I understand the Blink Hunters can be okay, but I still have issues kind of believing in the Blink Hunters if there was like some proper air units in this game. I guess Stephano's plan is just never let anyone get to that stage anyway, so...
Yep, Stephano is still an incredibly quick RTS player after all these years. One of the most successful StarCraft 2 players of all time. And obviously, we know him for his roaches, but he was pretty damn good with the Zerglings as well. And Wasp, well, they're gonna feel very familiar to him.
Absolutely. Quick moving all over the map. And you again see the setup here. Nitix has Heavy Hunter in his build now. Did he have Heavy Hunter before, or was it Destroyer?
I think it was Destroyer.
Yeah, I think he swapped out a Heavy Hunter, which is interesting because that's a real anti-air unit, and so obviously that's going to give you the answer to the Falcons a little bit. So, yeah, perfect position this time on the Scorpions on the top side, but now the Wasps come in from the bottom. The Scorpions from the bottom side, from the main base, need to start turning across. A lot of them are chasing 2 Wasps down, and we are going to start losing a few workers, but at least this time it's going to come at a bit more of a cost from Stephano. He's going to lose more Wasps in the process, and he only kills 3 workers in total. The difference of positioning is absolutely huge from that game 1 to game 2.
Spot on. Previous game he lost 6 and he barely killed any Wasp for it. I mean, he got a couple, but really not that many. Now we killed way more Wasp, and instead of 6 workers, we only lost 3. So a better early game by Nitix this time around, as he safely makes it up to the mortars. He's going to send the first 3 mortars to the center. I'd love to see 1 mortar in the main, 1 mortar in the natural. I know it's expensive. As the Wasp, by the way, Stephano going to turn around. Stephano feels that he can take this fight against the Scorpions. And with the quicker reinforcements, he may very well be onto something. What a great fight by Stephano here.
So many Scorpions getting caught. However, they are going to see the mortars again in position across the map. So they're going to start getting in position on the third. The mortars now in position defensively to the third base of Nitix. Maybe in some trouble. A reinforcing mortar gets caught as well. So those Wasps able to get a grab. As now, we have the Mammoths. So they're going to just say, okay, you're building.
Oh, wow.
Okay. They don't take damage to the mortars. And the Heavy Hunters shouldn't do any damage to them either. So there's actually not a great answer now. Ouch.
They are so tanky, man. Holy smokes.
That's the power of the Starforge with the combination of a strong air unit and a strong ground unit, right?
Wow.
So, because like last game, if we built Mammoths, the Destroyers would have been the right thing to have in the deck. But now that there's Heavy Hunters in the deck, you build the Mammoths instead of Falcons. Yeah. Okay, just cool kind of strategy from Stephano. His deck so far absolutely delivering for him and giving him choices in each situation. And he's going to crush this fight currently, and he might even just target down the third base before he gets out of here.
Yep, absolutely. Why not, right? These Mammoths are going to be tanky. Scorpions are not going to kill them in time. We have a few more mortars showing up, and sure, the mortars absolutely obliterate the Wasp. And maybe if we had a few more Scorpions in the center to just protect our mortars, all of those fights would have gone so much better. Because the Mammoths don't have a lot of range, so normally they should struggle getting on top of mortars. But I think it's that Wasp turnaround fight that Stephano took in the top side, right? Or at least above the natural of Nitix, where he really turned this game around. He made it seem like he wanted to go for the natural. Nitix was chasing him, and he turns around and he fights it with reinforcements, gets a perfect surround, and now we're looking at 4 base Stephano against 2 base Nitix.
Yeah, Stephano doing the right thing, which is if you can afford a 4th base, just put it down. Just like, you know, if you got control like this, it's just a guaranteed way to give you so much more of an advantage in the game. So I always love that. That's my philosophy too. Just get that 4th base down if you can afford to. Because especially against mortars, sometimes you just don't want to keep on pushing in. But yeah, obviously Stephano has, if he wants to, realistically, could probably just go, I guess you don't really want to go Capus against the potential Heavy Hunters, but maybe you could even switch into some ground stuff. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he just keeps on going with what he's got.
Yeah, I think going with what you got currently is not bad. Even though if the mortar count increases, though, it does get a little bit scary as Stephano is going to poke the front line of the mortars, as he's also getting into the soft underbelly of this army. But eventually these mortars should clean it up, or will they ever? Man, Mammoths are ridiculously tanky. They just keep on going, and that's going to do it, man. That's a 2-0 lead for Stephano. It's just all over Nitix so far in this best of 7.
Yep. It's going to be Stephano. As this really was. I mean, this is just the economy, right? You can afford so many Mammoths that you can just run them in. They weren't taking a lot of damage anyways. But yeah, you could just absolutely continue to overwhelm through, and Stephano wastes no time to take a 2-0 lead.
And now it's difficult for Nitix, because what do you do? If you swap out the Heavy Hunter again and you go back into something that is also very tanky or is good against Mammoths, yeah, then you have to worry about the Falcons again. Maybe,
I think this is where maybe like Nitix's deck is just like doesn't have as good a broad like set of options as Stephano's, so maybe Nitix even just goes for like a bigger deck change, right? Because right now, Stephano's deck absolutely seems to have good answers to pretty much the main options Nitix is going for, unless Nitix switches up and maybe goes air. Not seen that route yet, so possibilities.
It's just so hard to play air if you're the one who's going to tech first, because Stephano is going to be richer, right? And if it turns into air versus air, then it seems like it's going to favor Stephano more often than not. Even if Stephano doesn't have strong air units right now that can actually battle air. But yeah, that seems risky. Very curious to see what decision Nitix will make. Nitix clearly is going to have to switch it up. The early game was a bit better in game 2. Did a good job in keeping his workers around, but maybe he'll just be kicking himself for that one Scorpion fight above his natural, where he got fully surrounded by all the wasps from Stephano.
Yeah, I think if you have those Scorpions, at least it potentially looks different. Nitix completely changes it up. He's going to go Wasp Gunbot, so we're going to see the trigger kind of set up. This is something that Trigger kind of started doing on day 1 of the beta coming up, and he just stuck with it ever since, it feels like.
Now it feels like we're going to see Stephano actually play some shockers. We're going to see shockers in action.
Yeah, absolutely, because those shockers should be great against wasps and against the gunbots. So then you have to figure out what you're going to do tech-wise to deal with shockers potentially. I don't think the air tech is really going to be an option here for Nitix. Looking at it, I don't think any of that really deals with shockers very well. So probably ground tech from him and just hoping the mortars can hold enough ground.
Yeah, it almost feels that if Stephano would have snipers as well as tier 3, then I would still absolutely love this for him. But without snipers, I mean, Heavy Ballista would absolutely struggle against Sniper Mortar. And let's see if Nitix can hold his own here in the early game, as Stephano has gone for 2 base. He goes 2 base, stack, Foundry. We've got Shockers and Destroyers going to come online, as Nitix is going to be forced to somehow find a way to buy a lot of time to get his 3 base setup going.
Wasps running around all over the place at the moment. A couple of different skirmishes starting to break out as we slice and dice one another up. And yeah, Nitix now probably has to start his tech pretty quickly here, because right now his army is not going to last.
Maybe air even? Maybe airship, who knows? Like, because the only anti-air I mean, airship is not great against tier 1 anti-air, obviously. Now he goes Mortars. I mean, alright, good luck. Exposed natural, by the way. Tiny run by Stephano is so far out multitasking Nitix a little bit. There's a couple of workers, Rotti. That's painful for Nitix.
4 workers going down. We're going to see probably 5, I think. That Wasp on the bottom side gets another, so yeah, 5 workers going down. It really just impacts you so much, especially in terms of the tech units you can afford. It always feels so difficult once you've just lost a few workers. Stephano's going to jump on the workers on the 3rd base as well, and he'll happily trade Wasp for workers right now. That's always a good trade for him. Stephano's just doing so much right here, and it doesn't even feel like his Wasp count is degraded, as now you've got Shockers taken to the field, a Destroyer as well, and we are still, a crucial 20 seconds away from the tech of Nitix taken to the field.
And those are 20 incredibly long seconds. I don't really see a way that Nitix keeps the 3rd base alive. If he does somehow find a way, I'm going to be incredibly impressed. But Shockers are so freaking good. And I love the aggressive positioning here as well, because why not? Okay, you do need to make sure you protect them a little bit. One Shocker goes down. Nitix has gone for a big counter, but Stephano has an answer for it. Just like he's had an answer pretty much for every single thing that Nitix has tried so far in this best of 7. And Nitix is now once more a 2-base player.
Yes, he is. Just going to try and re-expand here. The Destroyer is going to be nearby. Don't do as much damage to the bases as they used to, but it's still pretty beastie. As the Wasps are going to hit the wide open natural. Mortars are on their way over here. Wasps are going to just commit. They're going to decide to get out of there once the Mortars are seen. The Mortars obviously do a lot of damage. But of course, Stephano, I mean, he's not really mining off the full natural right now. He lost about half the workers there, but he has got that full 3rd base up while his opponent does not. So generally is just mining so much better off for the moment. And that is such a big deal.
He's stacking up to air again. How do you feel about it? Do you think it's for mammoths, or do you think it might be mammoths again, because they're so tanky against mortars?
I like it, honestly. I feel like it makes sense to have the shockers there, but then the mammoths deal with the mortars, and you've got the shockers for the wasps, and I think you've just got a bit of everything for everything, right? He's in no rush right now. He sets back, starts a 4th base as well. Yeah, I like it. I think he's getting an answer to everything he feels he needs an answer for.
Needs to be careful with his shockers. Does get 1 or 2 hits off, but lost 1 of them as he stepped in range of the circle. At least Nitix still has what feels like an army that can absolutely fight, that can dream. We've got 6 or 7 mammoths being rallied to the center of the map. Will Stephano be willing to step into all these circles though, or is he just gonna wait until Nitix comes to him?
It's a good question, right? I mean, I almost wonder what the late game looks like, because it feels like we're getting to enough mortars that if Stephano doesn't do something, Nitix has a 4th base as well, and then And then where do we go from there? So maybe Stephano does feel the need to fight.
He's gonna
also,
crush, I
Nitix
think.
is very,
Yeah.
he's very spread out. So maybe I was going to say if Stephano focuses one place, maybe that could be a factor. Here we go. He's going to come in from the top side. He's actually just going to say, we've got a pathway towards the upper left base. Maybe we go for that. There's going to be mammoths on the bottom side just diving on mortars that do not have support. So yeah, just all over the map, Stephano, and he's just going to get so much value from the mammoths again.
Beautiful flank there by Stephano, knowing that it's just mortars that's left behind. Finds 2 more that were just produced. Nitix having an incredibly tough time. Nitix probably felt the urge that he had to go up to 4 bases. Thought he had enough mortars to justify that choice. But right when he tried to spread himself thin across the entire center of the map, it is Stephano who finds an opening in the top and bottom side. A beautiful flank, and just like that, it is Stephano who takes a 3-0 lead. And Rotti, he looks damn good at this game because Nitix is strong, man. He has played a crazy amount of battle aces. I've seen Nitix hang with the very best, but Stephano looks amazing so far.
He's freaking good, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's really freaking good.
Yeah.
Not really anything else to say. Just he is just absolutely like. I played Nitix a couple of times. Dude's freaking beast. It's not even funny. And then Stephano's just like wiping the floor with him.
Same. I am incredibly impressed. I thought obviously Stephano, just like someone like Ben, Damu, incredibly natural, talented video gamer, and these guys they just seem to be good at everything they get going and they start, and it doesn't really matter what it is. But yeah, Nitix has been playing so much. It looked really good against many other players. Stephano, an absolute animal at the moment. Well done. This has a great grasp on this best of 7. And if you're Nitix right now, you start feeling a little bit desperate, right? Because there are so many things to worry about. It's not just the Wasp battles or the Wasp run-bys that you have to worry about, or that air transition that you know it's coming. It's always scary when they have units like Mammoths as tier 2 Starforge, because you worry about air, you worry about ground, and it's crazy how strong these Mammoths are against the mortars. It's an awesome way to break mortar lines, though, that's for sure.
I didn't realize they were so good against mortars, to be honest.
I knew that they were tanky, but I really did not think they were this freaking tanky, that they can just clearly jump on top of 5 mortars with 5 mammoths. Like, I did not know that was possible, but holy smokes, they're good.
Nitix is going to go recall on the basic units now. So as advanced recall, actually has Shocker in the what's the one on the far right of Nitix is called? I forgot. It's called the
airship. Or you mean a behemoth?
Yeah, the behemoth. That's what I was thinking of. I thought it was behemoth, but I'm just not sure.
Yeah, they are. It's funny because they're kind of tanky, but they don't deal crazy damage. But I have seen people run behemoth and heavy ballista, where the behemoths just tank everything, and then heavy ballistas destroy everything in the back. I've lost against a couple of people who just sit on 2 bases, go double tier 3 foundry, and they just wreck you.
Well, recalls just need to be making sure they do not get surrounded by the wasps. It's the last thing you want to have happening. And so you are trying to poke forward. Of course, you can always recall away, so there's not an ultimate threat. And that's why you can push out like this, because you can even recall back to the natural if needed. And you don't struggle as much clearing up the wasps on a natural attack, like the Scorpions did in that earlier game. Just going to recall here, and Stephano knows that, so he just backs away. He knows that's not a good trade to try and commit 4 workers on.
No. So Nitix, the only tier 2 unit he has on Foundry is the Shocker at the moment. But yeah, obviously Recall Shocker is amazingly good against Wasp. Like Wasp just cannot even get in range. So Stephano is going to have to transition out of them very quickly. Is once more going to go for Starforge, where he can make Falcons, he can make Mammoths. He might be able to get on top of a couple of workers now. If Stephano can just get 6 or 7, don't forget this is a 2-base setup from Nitix. So losing workers on a 2-base setup is so painful, and Rotti, he doesn't just lose some workers, he loses 9 of them.
Yep, that's a lot of workers going down.
11 even, sorry. 12!
12, I think, yeah.
Jeez. Man,
well, he's going to have this push, and this push needs to find so much value before the air units come out. I mean, realistically talking about at least killing the 3rd base, because he's taken so much on the natural, and he keeps turning around to chase down wasps, and I get it, but you gotta go, you gotta do damage. I think this is rough for Nitix already. The Falcons are going to start spawning soon, or whatever we want to build against us. I mean, Falcons are an answer, right? Because there's not really much anti-air. Nitix is on his way to tier 2 Foundry, but I mean, he's leaving the 3rd base alive. He's chasing Wasp with Shockers.
He's gonna lose his. Shockers, man. They're so slow. At this point, maybe you can just send 1 forward and hope that you obliterate the worker line, so at least Stephano cannot get any advantage of his tier 3. But whatever timing we tried to go for, it did not work out. We lost way too much. I mean, he does have tier 3, we at least have some anti-air, right? We have the advanced blinks, so...
Yeah, advanced blinks are actually pretty cool, so maybe they can be something of an answer, but it's the income difference. Like, we've only just gone back to essentially 2 bases as Nitix with the workers coming back online, while Stephano's just been sitting on 3 bases this entire time. He's got way more stuff. His composition is great. He's got a second set of tech coming online himself.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is the advanced blinks and a behemoth to try and make a push across the map, as we're still going to commit to these 2 bases.
Yeah, I don't hate that, because I actually think he's too far behind for 3 bases, and Stephano is going to get destroyers in the near future, so it kind of feels like it's now or never for Nitix. Let's see if Nitix can get a point on the board. You don't want to block your own struck, because Stephano really cannot get any value of his ground army at all. So I do think the 3rd base is in danger, but do we have enough anti-air to deal with all these Falcons? Because if I'm Stephano, I think I just spent all my money on Falcons, as he could go for another run-by. 3rd base should fall, but who's winning the battle? Is it the advanced blinks or is it the Falcons? It seems like it's the Falcons.
Yeah, there's a few advanced blinks actually reinforcing as well. Now the Falcons are going to turn around and go try and clean up this army. Stephano can start to make a little bit more on the ground as well, perhaps. Because once this ground army's getting knocked down, his own ground army's going to become that much better, right? The question is, does he even need a ground army? Because at the moment, the advanced blinks are just not doing enough. We have got Stephano also counterattacking. He's killed once again 10, 11 workers on that natural expansion. So the counterattack during this is just so deadly. And Stephano still has an eco advantage. And now advanced blinks getting chased down by wasps as well.
That's actually a real shame though, because if Nitix would have left like 1 recall, 1 shocker behind, those wasps, they cannot get anything done, right? A single shocker will just completely shut down these wasp run-bys, as they would get absolutely obliterated. And then maybe it wasn't that bad, right? Because it's tier 3, 2 base against 2 base for Stephano. Stephano is now going to rebuild. While we blink forward, we're going to try to get underneath these Falcons. It's risky, by the way, because there are obviously still some wasp around. Did he leave units behind this time around? Yes. Plenty of recallers. Well, he should be fine here.
Yeah, the shock is very good. Getting a couple shots off should be enough, as recall to the main base as well. And some of the advanced blinks, just making sure they don't get caught. The wasps actually turned onto them and took some damage. Some more wasps going down, and Stephano re-establishing this 3rd. Kind of puts the pressure on Nitix to make one big push once again, down about 30 supply. Does he just have the composition? Does he have an answer to those Falcons? I don't think so. With the shockers underneath now especially, I think the blinks are going to struggle.
That is the problem, right? It's the positioning. I think technically his army is good enough to take care of the area, but it's obviously the rest that Stephano has to work with. Stephano does not have a single destroyer, I believe, or he does have the tech unlocked. And I think 1 or 2 destroyers here would be very useful, as he sets up another very big wasp run by. A single recall is obviously never going to cut it, so we're going to have to do a little more. He's going to now have to recall everything, but now he's kind of missing those recallers in the center of the map. The advanced blinks are going to be in trouble, but reinforcements have shown up. He's going to blink away from the shockers. Stephano should have maybe moved his Falcons here, but he's not going to do it. Just so confident that this is the right fight to take, and he ain't wrong.
Yeah, it was a little bit scary, but he had a bunch of money banked up. He's going to reinforce once again. Again, he is the player with the 3rd base online, so he can rebuild a little bit more easily. Those few workers going down from Nitix continue to just eat into everything he can do and afford. And that's going to be the problem is, well, the advanced blinks still trying to just lead the charge forwards. A few shockers on the ground absolutely will work wonders against those advanced blinks and the recallers. And that's just helping those Falcons to kind of keep the numbers advantage, as the recallers actually have to recall away and Nitix goes running, but you're running away from a 3 base player.
Yep, he knows it, but I mean, what else can he do, right? He's going to go up to 3 bases himself now, but that's going to take a little while before Nitix can get any value of that. It seems that Stephano is just a little too damn good already. In battle aces, a little too powerful here for Nitix. I like what Nitix tried there in the final game. I actually feel like this is the closest that he got. And there were maybe 1 or 2 moments where he lost a few less workers in his natural. He would have had enough units in the center to keep on pushing and actually take out all these Falcons. Don't forget, Falcons are damn slow, right? So if advanced blinks actually find a favorable fight, there's a good chance that you can really punish the Falcon player and kill each and every single one of them. But was not meant to be what. It seems like we are looking at a 4-0. We have Clem getting a 4-0 over Lorimbo. We have Stephano getting a 4-0 here over Nitix. Impressive by Stephano.
Yeah, just cancel the 3rd base. Doesn't necessarily need to be here anymore, so can start to just fall back a little bit. It's less and less every time from Nitix, though, and this time there's just nothing to really stop these wasps from coming in for the surround. We're just going to blink forward and blaze glory to try and go out with something, but there's nothing there. And that's it. Stephano 4-0. Just a bit too good.